All right, we're back in Colossians 3:20. Here's the key there, if I can get that in. Okay. This whole passage connects with each other, obviously. All Scripture does, but I'd encourage you, if you're studying this with me and going on in your own studies, to read through this and then ignore the chapter break that's up here. Not because people are bad at what they do, that it's a fine chapter break, but sometimes we lose connection with what is actually going on, because this literally goes right into the next chapter. Because as you'll see in verse 20, it says, if with Christ you died to the elemental spirits of the world, why, as if you were still alive in the world, do you submit to its regulations? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch, referring to the things that all perish as they are used according to human precepts and teachings. These indeed have an appearance of wisdom in promoting self-made religion and asceticism and severity to the body, but they have no value in stopping the indulgence of the flesh. Then he goes on, basically saying, you've been raised with Christ, and then goes, Christ who is your life. So here you die with Christ. If with Christ you died, so you're dying with him to the elemental principles. The idea here is elemental principles sounds like some kind of weird, or elemental spirits sounds kind of like a weird mysticism kind of thing. But this is just talking about the elementary, like basic principles, foundational principles of things. Literally almost like elementary school, where it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you put it in that term, could you imagine going through education where as you go on from learning your ABCs to now you're reading college literature and you're still going, oh no, but I still got to be on A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I go through that every night, and I really think about it all the time. A, what is A? B, what is B? And you kind of go, well, wait a second. It's useful. It's good, but you got to move past that, because that's not really the substance. The letters are there and they're helpful, but if you're missing it, all the words and the meaning and all that for the letters, it's like, oh, look at this. That says, look at that word has L in it and an O and an O and a K. Look at that. That's look. Isn't that great? And it's like, okay, but what's the point? You want to actually look. You take the deeper point of it than the letters. You actually look at the meaning, and that's where we've died to the elementary principles. And so we died to the elementary principles with Christ, the elementary spirits of the world. This is how we should be. This is how we're looking and going, I'm moving beyond just regulations and commands. And it doesn't mean you leave off them completely. The idea is I'm moving on from just ABCs to an actual reality, the deeper point of it. It's not the letters, it's the meaning behind the letters. It's what's conveyed. Christ is the word. That's far more important than the letters that make up the word in one sense. So we've died to the elemental spirits of the world. And again, that's just those basic principles in one sense. Then he asks, why, as if you are still alive in the world. And that's where in, I'm going to try to go through a few verses in this. So Colossians, let's see, 2:20. When he says, as if you were still alive in the world, that's Galatians 2:20, actually, I think. Where he's talking about, I've died with Christ. I no longer live. Christ lives in me. As if you were still alive in the world, do you submit to its regulations? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch. All these thou shalt not kind of idea. And he's not saying that we no longer think about it. We no longer address that. We just kind of, it doesn't matter. He's just asking, why is that how you live, as if that's the whole point, is just don't do stuff. We tend to kind of look at really this verse is applying to the idea that we tend to live our Christian life with the do nots. We don't do this, we don't do that. But Christ didn't die and rise again so that we just don't do bad things. He rose again to make us fruitful, to produce life, to do good for others. So it's not the do nots, it's the do's. It's now we love, now we serve, now we heal, now we help. Those are the kind of things. So this whole idea of getting stuck in this human precepts and teaching, as if don't handling, don't taste, don't touch is going to make you really godly, really loving, really just don't do it. It doesn't mean you don't do those things. There's still a ton of stuff we don't do, but for the sake of others, not just to not do it, but for the sake of others. I'm not going to cheat on my wife just because she'd be mad, or just because that's how marriage is supposed to go. I mean, that's a good enough reason, don't get me wrong. But if that's the only reason I don't cheat on my wife, what a sad marriage. That it's just because I don't want her to get mad. Rather, if I really love my wife and I really have a deep relationship, and the deeper it gets, I'm not cheating on my wife because I don't want to be separated from her. I don't want to harm our relationship. I love her. I don't want to hurt her. It's not as much as I don't want her mad at me. It's I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to betray her. I don't want to be separated in one sense or another. I want to be closer to her. And so by that love, by that desire, there is a movement in my heart to where I'm not going to want to cheat on my wife because I love my wife more than I would want those flippant, short kind of desires. That's what he's talking about. It's not letting go of those principles per se, but it's living off of a different principle or a different motive, because these indeed have the appearance of wisdom in promoting self-made religion. I mean, that's asceticism. We talked about that in another video. And severity to the body, as treating your body harshly, but they have no value in stopping the indulgence. And that's the frightening part, is we can do all this religious stuff, but it really has no value. And that's where you look and go, ooh, I like to underline that, just because it really is one of those things we get caught up as humans is, well, I just won't do this. I won't go there. I won't say this. I won't. And we talk about all the no's instead of going, but what should I do? Because when we pursue doing things, this is when we pursue the things we should do. That's 2 Timothy. I can't write. 22, I think, where he says, flee from the youthful desires, but then it doesn't stop there. It says, and pursue, and the things we pursue. And if you're pursuing what Christ has for you and the things he wants, you're no longer going to just be not doing things. And the fact that you're pursuing those other things, they kind of are opportunity costs. They cancel each other out. You cannot be part of Christ and be part of Satan. You cannot pursue loving one person and yet hate them at the same time. It doesn't work like that, because they do cancel each other out. You can't be dry and wet at the same time, hot or cold. Now, we get it. There's different parts of our body. There's different regulations. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, there are principles in this world that cancel each other out. And doing righteousness cancels out doing wickedness. And doing wickedness cancels out doing righteousness. So we get stuck going, well, I won't. But we never do the righteous things. And then we wonder why we keep going back to the things we shouldn't be doing. This is kind of what he's referring to, is the more you have a relationship with Christ, the more you die to the worldly principles, the immaturities, the childish desires, and you start growing towards Christ to love him more and more. So this is where we're freed in that mindset to actually pursue the Lord. So this is a little longer video, because here we're just jumping through it really quickly. You could go back, and I probably will go back a little bit, but for sake of time, and highlight a few of these things because of those things like self-made religion. But that's kind of a quick take. I bracketed this just as a sense, because it's all kind of a negative, sinful kind of thing. So, but I may go back and highlight certain words. But anyways, there is verse 20 through 23, and I hope that's a blessing. So, hey, we'll pick it up in the next chapter in the next video. God bless you guys.